Next up, Randy Powell, a high energy virtual and keynote speaker, owner of Randy Powell Speaks and Envision Success Coaching. He wrote two books, Safety Has No Quitting Time and The Magic of Purpose, 6 Steps in Achieving the Success You Want. He was founder of the first advanced club in District 12, Circle of Champions, and is a charter member of Standing Ovation's Advanced Toastmasters. A retired Air Force veteran, distinguished Toastmaster, and qualified speaker, his presentation tonight, The Power of a Book, What Makes It Stick, and How to Get Yours. Please welcome Randy Powell.
Oh, good evening. How's everybody doing? Oh, that's awesome. I'm going to go through this rather quickly because I only chose 6 to 8 minutes to share some information with you. And I was honored to see that Cheryl Rouse was here and opened up tonight because she is the world famous coach for Randy Powell, has been for over 10 years now. The Power of a Book, What Makes It Stick, and How to Get Yours. And what I thought I would do is just share some information, maybe 3 points that I think might add some value to you tonight, and then talk about why you might be writing your book and what that might look like and what it might look like when it's all done. First of all, the question is, where's your power come from? And the answer is your power, no matter what it is, comes from within. And I want each and every one of you to really let that sink in and understand that your power, the power of a book, the power of a message, a story, whatever it is, tonight it's book, it still all resonates and starts with you. And I always tell people you speak between your head and your heart, and that's the bottom line. So where does the power come from? Within. What about the power of your book and understanding that it's nothing more than an extension of you, the person? That is what your book is. It is an extension of you, your life, your stories, the history. It may be your culture, whatever it is an extension of you. So if you take your arm, extend it out, that is one book. Take another arm, stick it out, that's another book. Take a leg, take another leg. These, I used to say there's a book in everyone. There's probably a lot more than just one book. So always understand that it starts with one, but like Cheryl says, you can end up writing 20 books if that's where your heart ends up taking you. So how do you get yours and what's it going to take? Well, I think it takes 3 things to get started. It takes deep thought. When I wrote my first book, Safety Has No Quitting Time, as Cheryl alluded to, the easiest thing to do is to think about your history and what that has looked like for you and take all of those lessons learned like a ball of clay. And the reason I wrote the book, Safety Has No Quitting Time, was because one day I was working late, and I was in the safety and security arena for over 25 years. And a manager said to me, "You're not going to be working late, it's Friday night." And I told him, I said, "I'm going to finish this report because safety has no quitting time." And that stayed with me. And he challenged me. He called me up late that night at the office to find that I was at work. And he said, you weren't kidding, you were serious. And I said, I believed in what I was doing. And I thought that with all the years and experience that I had, that required me to put that into print. So Cheryl said, write what you know about. So my first book was titled Safety Has No Quitting Time. And so deep thought, work, and conviction. First thing is deep thought. Take a look at who you are, where you come from, what your culture is, whatever it is in you from within, and then decide to do the hard work. And as Cheryl said, it is hard work. And there's times when you'll get writer's block and you just put down the pen. I caught an author, a well-known author one day, and he was in the airport. And I asked him this question: what happens when you can't get the writing down? And he said, as soon as you run out of what you want to write, just stop and let it go. And then come back to it when the inspiration hits you. So if you get writer's block, walk away from it and leave it alone, and it will come to you. And the other thing is the power of conviction. You absolutely have to believe in what you're writing about and be passionate about it, and that'll come through in your writing. So the first point is, you are the sole source of your power. That's the energy, the heart, your experiences, your story, the outcomes, and also the change that you want to make, the change that you want to see at the end when they finish your book. And here's something to remember. Give everything you've got into that book and give it early so that it keeps them wanting to get to the end. It all resides within you. Point two, what makes it stick? Well, we know that titles make it stick. You see a title of a book, you're in Barnes & Noble, you grab that book, or you're on the internet and you see the title, it either grabs your attention or it does not. And so titles sell. Short titles sell. Something causes you to move, to pause, to think. That's that title. Curiosity. If you can think of something that will generate curiosity in the title of your book, do that. If something sounds like you've never heard it before, if you can come up with something that people have just not heard it that way before, it might be something to pay attention to when you're talking about writing your book. And then, why are you writing your book? My recommendation is to make sure you start with why. And I think Cheryl had a lot to say about that. Understand, yes, who you're writing to, but you need to know why first, or there's no reason to write it. So you got to understand what your why is. Is it because you want credibility? You're trying to establish yourself in the marketplace. Is it authority? Do you want to become a central authority on a specific topic? Is it for this feeling of accomplishment that you've done something that most people will not do? In the big scheme of things, most people will not write their first book. Is it going to be used as a networking tool or perhaps a marketing tool? And Cheryl alluded to that. 10% is getting it down on paper and giving it to the publisher. And we'll talk about that in a minute. But is it going to be a marketing tool? And if so, you are the marketeer. So you need to learn how to market your book. And there are different types of books. There are storybooks, technical books, teaching books, how-to books, compilations, interview books. And this most important thing at the end of life, you want to have your legacy documented. So legacy books. But here's the thing, don't confuse your how-to book or your technical book with your legacy book. And I'll share this with you. The magic of purpose is done. And it is everything that I'm doing and have done for the last 9 years in adding value to the marketplace and to individuals' lives. But it's not in print. And the reason it's not in print is we held it back because as we were looking at it, it looked as though it was a how-to book, a help book, but also a legacy book. And you have to make a decision if you want that combined or you want that separated. And so I decided to hold that up and separate that. There are self-published books. There are traditional books where you go to a traditional publisher, of course, and then there are hybrid. And right now, hybrid is probably, in my opinion, the best way to go because not only do you get a publisher to help you, but you also can use the power of the internet and get things done much quicker and for less cost. So is one better than the other? Yes and no. It just depends on what you're trying to accomplish. But here's my tip. If you're going to do it because you want to gain some form of credibility or you want to increase your power in the marketplace, then you might think about a simple, easy quote book first to get started. Maybe some area of expertise that you have and work on that and get that first book out, or maybe create a book of tips or interviews. I interviewed 5 or 6 different people for book number 2, real life stories as successful people, but real life stories. So think about what it is you're trying to accomplish, what you want the outcome to be, and start there. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. I hope that added some value to you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Randy. And if anyone wants to invite Randy to their club or organization to speak, please reach out to him. Thank you again, Randy.